Are you thinking about getting your real estate license in Washington, D.C., but you just don't know where to start? Well, in this video, I'm going to go through a complete step-by-step guide so you know exactly what steps to take to get licensed and start your new career. My name's Chris. I've been a licensed real estate agent for the past 10 years. I'm also a team leader and real estate coach that's been able to help hundreds of people get started and get their real estate license. Before we dive into the video, make sure to check out our guide down in the description below. It's our real estate license starter kit. Everything in this video, plus a lot more, is inside that guide. It's completely free to download, so make sure to grab your copy of that. I think it will be super helpful. I put a lot of time into putting that together. Also, down in the description below, you're gonna find a link to my favorite real estate school. And the reason I like this school so much is that they offer a pass or don't pay guarantee. And the reason this is so important is because a lot of people struggle to pass their real estate exam. And this school is very confident that they can help you do exactly that. So if you want to check their classes out, there is an affiliate link down below where you can access different sales and discounts on their classes. So make sure to check that out as well. So the very first step to getting your license in Washington, D.C. is just meeting some of the basic requirements. The first one is you must be 18 years old or older. The second one is you must have a high school diploma or a GED, and you must be a legal US resident or citizen. Another important thing to note is that you must be able to pass a background check. And if you have something in your record like a felony that might prevent you from getting licensed, I highly suggest you reach out to the Real Estate Commission ahead of time and have that conversation to see if it's something that's going to prevent you from getting your license. Step number 2 is completing your real estate pre-license education. In Washington, D.C., you're required to complete 60 hours of state-approved pre-license education classes. And yes, I know, 60 hours is a ton of time to invest, especially if you have a 9-to-5 job or other obligations that just make your lifestyle very busy. But the good news is you can do these classes in person or online. I actually recommend the online approach because you still get access to the same quality instructors, mentorship, and guidance that you would want, but you don't have to spend a ton of time driving back and forth to the real estate school, which can be really inconvenient. During these classes, you're going to learn a lot of new things, such as real estate law, real estate math, real estate finance. These are all topics that are covered in real estate class. So it's important to pay attention because these things are things you're going to use when you're out in the field, but they're also going to help you pass your real estate exam. And that takes us to the next step, which is step number 3, which is scheduling and passing your real estate exam. In Washington, D.C., the exams are held by PSI Exams, and you can schedule by going on their website or giving them a phone call. Just make sure you give them at least 24 hours in advance. Also, when you get there on test day, you're going to want to bring a couple basic things. The first thing is a basic non-scientific calculator for the math portion of the exam, and you're going to want to bring 2 forms of identification. This can be a debit card, a credit card, a driver's license, or even a passport. Just make sure that you bring 2. Now you're probably wondering, once you get into the testing center, what's the exam actually like? Well, the good news is it's all multiple choice. The bad news is that questions can be written in a way that's a little bit tricky. So what I recommend is you read each question multiple times before you submit your final answer. This will help you increase your odds of passing the exam. And the reason that is because these questions can be written in a way that is a little confusing and tricky. Now, they're not trying to trick you. That's not the goal. The goal is they want to make sure you really know the information before they give you a real estate license where you're able to go help people, sell major assets that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not sometimes millions of dollars. So just make sure you take your time. In most cases, even when people read each question multiple times, they still finish early, so don't rush. Now, the exam itself has 2 different parts. You have a state-specific portion and a national portion of the exam. Now, the good news is if you fail one and pass the other, you just have to come back and take the part that you failed. Now, you're probably wondering what a passing score is. Well, in Washington, D.C., you must get a 75% score or higher. Anything lower than that is going to cause you a failing score. Now, if you fail, don't get too upset or too discouraged. I know so many people that failed this exam and they went on to become super successful agents. In fact, I know even more people that failed this exam multiple times before they ever succeeded, and then they went on to be great agents. So it has no correlation to whether you're going to be good or bad as a real estate agent. It just means you need to study harder and give this another try. Now, if you pass the exam, it's definitely time to celebrate because that takes us to the next step and we're one step closer to getting licensed. And that takes us to step number 4, which is scheduling your fingerprinting and background check. In Washington, D.C., you must get this done before you apply for your license. This can usually be done by a state-approved vendor or even PSI. And that takes us to step number 5, which is applying for your real estate license. And this is done through the DC Real Estate Commission. And what you want to do is you want to take everything we've done so far up until this point and package it together. So we're going to get proof that we completed our real estate pre-license education classes. We're going to get the passing score to our real estate exam. And we're also going to get our background check and fingerprinting. We're going to package that all together with our real estate license application and then send that out. And then we move on to step number 6, which is choosing your sponsoring broker. Now, this step is super important because you're going to get to pick your mentor and your first place that you're going to be working with as a brokerage. So I want to give you some really important questions to ask because if you don't get this right, you could set yourself way back, or worst case scenario, you could fail out of the business if you don't get the right mentorship, support, and training. So here's the questions I would ask if I was starting all over again. The very first question I would ask is what kind of mentorship and training do you have specifically for new agents? The first part is about the mentorship. So you want to know if you're going to have access to a mentor one-on-one that you can call while you're going through your first couple real estate deals. I remember back when I was starting out, I was running around trying to get clients, doing showings, all these things. And I finally had a client that wanted to make an offer. And I just remember looking at all the paperwork and saying, wow, I have no idea how to do this. And I had to call a mentor. So having somebody there that you can call to walk you through this process will help you tremendously because I'll tell you right now, it can be nerve-wracking to try to get through your first couple transactions and really learn all the paperwork involved with doing real estate. But don't let that scare you. Just make sure you get a great mentor. The next part of that question is about the training. So you want to make sure that the brokerage that you go to has training specifically for new agents that are trying to get their businesses off the ground. This is very important. The next question I would ask is, how are you going to help me market my business? As a brand new agent, did you know that most people actually fail because they can't figure out how to get clients on a regular basis? So make sure to have this conversation with the brokerage that you're going to go to. Ask them, how are you going to help me market my business? How are you going to help me find new clients? This question is very important because most people do fail because they can't figure this part out and they can't figure out how to make a steady income as a new agent. The last question I would ask is about the monthly fees and commission splits. Let's tackle the first part first. The monthly fees. This is something that's going to come out of your account whether you're selling or you're not. And as a new agent, this can be super painful to see these withdrawals coming out of your account every month if you don't have income coming in. So the way brokerages work is some have no monthly fees, others have a small monthly fee, and then some brokerages charge upwards of a couple $100s per month. So make sure you have this conversation ahead of time. And as a brand new agent, I highly suggest going to a brokerage that does not have a monthly fee because it can get painful pretty quick when you're first starting out. And the last question to ask is about the commission splits. Now, the commission splits are a very common topic that a lot of people focus on. And when I first got started, I wanted to talk all about commission splits. And it's a very important thing to ask, but don't get hyper focused on it because so many people get hyper focused on commission splits and then they never get the mentorship, support, and training that they need to succeed. But one way you can cut through the noise with commission splits is just ask the simple question. Say, if I make a $10,000 commission, how much of that money do I actually get to keep and take home? This will give you an idea of what their commission splits are after all their royalties and all the kind of things that go into some brokerages. So have this conversation, but don't hyper focus on it because I would much rather see you go to a brokerage that gives you the support, mentorship, and training. It maybe doesn't have as good of commission splits, but they're going to give you the support you need to succeed as a new agent. And in my opinion, that's much more important to invest in your career and your long-term future so you're really good at this and you know exactly what you're doing. So now that you have all the steps to getting licensed, I want to answer some of the most common questions that I get on a regular basis because I'm sure you have some questions right now. The very first one is, how much does it actually cost to get your real estate license in Washington, D.C.? Well, I would budget anywhere between $500 and $800, depending on what classes you decide to go with, what exam prep tools that you decide to upgrade to, or even the brokerage you decide to sign on with if there's any onboarding fees or anything associated like that. But All in all, considering the upside that this career has, it's a very low startup cost. The next question I get a lot is how long does it actually take to get your real estate license? Well, in Washington, D.C., you have to complete 60 hours of state-approved pre-licensed education classes. So I would estimate anywhere between 2 and 3 months, depending on how motivated, how disciplined, and how much time you actually put into going through these classes and getting licensed. But all in all, you can get licensed pretty quickly. Another common question I get is the real estate exam hard? And the reality is the exam is hard. Many people fail it, some people fail it multiple times, and some people just can't figure out how to pass it altogether. But it doesn't have to be this way. There are so many great exam prep tools on the market right now that can help you build that confidence that you need to pass. I remember back when I was going through this process, I was just sitting in front of a boring textbook, reading line after line. And I was just getting so frustrated because I wasn't retaining the information and I just didn't feel confident to go take my exam. Eventually, I found exam prep tools and they put me through tests like simulations and quizzed me, and it really helped me build my confidence that I needed to go schedule my exam and feel confident passing. So if you want to check out the exam prep tool that I recommend, is called CompuCram. There is an affiliate link down below to that as well, where you can check out that tool. I think it will really help you out. And the last question I get a lot is, can I start this part-time? And that's actually one of the things that I really enjoy about real estate, is it gives you the flexibility to build what you want to build. So whether you want to start out part-time and you want to just help a couple extra people per year and make side income, you could totally do that. Or if you want to be a full-time agent and scale your income and make a really great income and help a ton of people, you can do that as well, as long as you're willing to put the work in and really learn. So the best thing about real estate is you can build the kind of business that you want to build, and it's entirely flexible. So I hope that answers some of your questions, but if you have more questions, drop them down in the comment section below, and also like the video and subscribe because they have more content coming up all about starting your career and getting your real estate license. Thanks again for tuning in.